Hey guys, I'm Abraham Ovadi. I'm here with Kris Torres from the law office of Robert Dixon. He's here in Palm Beach County. They got an office in Miami as well, and he's handling injury cases statewide. Kris, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself and a little bit about your office?
All right. Well, first of all, thanks for having me on, man. This is great.
Smooth. This guy's smooth.
The whole situation is great. I ain't no rookie, I'll tell you that. But no, this is great. I'm Kris Torres. I'm a personal injury attorney. I've been doing it for 11 years, mainly out of Palm Beach County, Miami. I have a lot of contacts in Miami, in Dade and Broward. But yeah, focus on helping individuals and really a client-based approach to helping people get back to baseline and beyond. So yeah, it's
awesome.
Great. I've been doing it.
And I'm noticing a New York accent. What city? What borough?
A little bit. I'm originally from Brooklyn, from Red Hook, a little area. My mom always says East New York because Red Hook wasn't a very nice place back in the day. It's better now. But
is it better now? Like post pandemic now?
No. Well, in the 2000s, it got very pretty gentrified. So
okay.
Red Hook is going to be Red Hook forever. But $1 million real estate versus less than that. But yeah, I'm a Miamian. I went to high school down there. I'm UF alumni. I went to law school at FIU. So
yeah, go Panthers.
Yeah, absolutely.
Nice. Yeah, I went to FIU Law as well, so cool.
And that's funny that we were like 2 years apart, but we didn't really get to know each other until, later on.
Later on, yeah, for sure. So you handle all types of injury cases throughout the state of Florida. Are you in any other states as well?
No, only Florida. I've co-counseled with other attorneys in other states, but I try to keep it as local as possible. Okay.
And what are some types of cases besides like car accidents, slip and falls? What other types of injury cases are you handling right now? Maybe you got an interesting one.
So what comes to mind when we talk about kind of odd personal injury cases is, every once in a while you get some kind of an animal that's involved, like a dog bite case, which is fairly common in South Florida. A lot of cow on the road cases, which have their own problems, niches to them. I spent a lot of time working in Okeechobee, which is like an hour northwest of Palm Beach County.
The Sticks, you could say it.
The Sticks, yeah. It's a great place. There's a lot of cows. That's why I encountered that. But I got really involved in big commercial trucking accident cases because that Beeline Highway, there's a lot of a lot of traffic. With truckers. One of the big problems with trucking cases is that the drivers sometimes are international or drivers are never really from the state where the accident occurred. So in one particular case, I remember it was a great mom and a daughter. The mom had to be 70s and the daughter was in her 50s. And the truck tried to make a U-turn and got stuck. And we ended up getting the dash cam footage. This is on the Beeline Highway. The dash cam footage that he got stuck. He got out of his car. He went to walk to the front to see if he can make it. And when he got back into his car, my client's driving along in the night.
Oh, wow.
Got caught underneath the truck for an hour.
Wow.
The mom was on dialysis prior to the accident. They had the pictures, the car is pretty messed up. But
wow.
We extensively litigated that. And this might have been before Zoom. So he was in New Jersey, Chinese citizen. We had an interpreter. It cost me about $3,000 just to take deposition because we had to videotape it. There was a bunch of people involved. We ended up settling it on the courthouse steps in Okeechobee County for pretty good money. But we litigated the crap out of that case. I got fairly knowledgeable of the riding logs and the different intricacies of kind of big trucking.
It was a Chinese citizen?
Chinese citizen.
Did he have the right to work here?
Trucks. He did have the right. He did have a work visa.
He did?
Yeah, he did. Okay. So it was, but it was he had his own company, his own LLC under his name.
Okay.
But he didn't speak a lick of English.
That's super Miami.
Yeah.
They do that. They don't have a driver's license. They don't have papers of work, but they got an LLC and they drive trucks. Yeah. And they hurt people and they don't have any insurance. Did this guy have insurance?
No, it was a company, the truck, and then the packaging. And he was actually leaving a distributor. So we went after the distributor. We got an accident recon to check the area. There was construction. So we had the county involved. It was heavy lifting getting that case resolved, but we got it resolved. And I mean, that's what it's about.
What was their defense on that case? Because it sounds like the truck was trying to make a U-turn there wasn't enough room to make the U-turn. So he stopped his car in the dark on a road that goes both ways. So it was obvious what was going to happen to anybody.
It was a 2-lane road. Now that I'm thinking of it, it wasn't a U-turn. He was making a left turn. So he got out and he was making a left turn, and then there was construction going on in the area. Oh. So he didn't think he can clear the left turn, but he could have. He just didn't think he could. So their defense is, look, this was an open and obvious situation. The trailer has all types of reflectors on it. Your client should have known, wasn't paying attention. The fact is that roadway at night is pitch black. And so you can only see so far ahead of you. Right. So we got an accident recon to show that even if she, had her high beams on, she still wouldn't have had time to stop. So it was, he should have just kept going, and that's what we kind of blamed the city. We blamed the distributor. Okay, everybody. You want to get whoever has some kind of liability.
Yeah, because I'm sure those people had lifelong injuries after that. I mean, they're lucky to be alive.
I still keep in contact. They're my Facebook friends. I still kind of keep in touch with them. They're doing well, but and that's also kind of what I feel like I bring to the table when I deal with a case is that. I make myself very, very accessible to these clients. Okay. I'm never gonna get us in a situation where a client says that they cannot get in contact with me. Okay. So my phone is ringing off the hook. I get text messages. WhatsApp. A lot of times I deal with clients who are, because I'm bilingual, I deal with clients who are sometimes out of the country. Okay. WhatsApp is an easy way to get in touch with them. In that regard. So it's that's what I try to do. That's kind of my fire that I bring to the system.
All right. So you're very accessible to your clients. They can contact you on your cell phone. They can text you. Does that ever get overwhelming for you as an attorney? I mean, it's probably all night.
It does. On weekends, Saturday morning, I'm getting texts. I just got to make sure that, and as I've developed in my, professional capacity, you got to draw the line somewhere. You can't just, be on with these people, 24 hours a day. So I make sure I have that time. I do have 4 kids. Make sure I have that time.
4 kids
for them. Yeah.
Wow.
From my oldest is 20, my youngest is 10. So in between there.
Wow.
And they demand a lot of time. So I got to make sure that I balance. Yeah. Balance that. But and I kind of my I like talking about myself. So this is a good place to be.
What lawyer doesn't?
But I kind of come into the lawyer profession from a different perspective because I taught high school before going to law school. In fact, I never wanted to be a lawyer. When I was an undergrad at University of Florida, I was a creative writing major. I was a poet. I did spoken word poetry. All I wanted to do was read books and live with my dog on the street and read poetry for money in New Orleans. Whatever. Okay,
you lived out there or what?
No. Oh. I visited there one time and I was like, all right.
That's a dream.
Yeah. Nice. So, but as I grew older, I realized, hey, that's I had a professor who was like, look, the best way to help poor people is not to be one. Mm-hmm. So I taught high school for 4 years. I loved it. I taught TV production. So I
Which high school?
Boynton Beach High School.
Oh, nice. Okay.
The Tigers. I think it was.
They got a ROTC program up there.
In Boynton.
Yeah, Boynton Beach. Yeah, we support them. They're right off of Gateway and 95, right? That's cool.
Yeah. And that's right. And see the whole Seacrest area. I keep in touch with a lot of those students. They're actually the class of 2008 is having a reunion.
Oh, I'm that should make you feel old.
Helping fund a little bit their reunion, but doing what I can to help the community, help the kids out. But and then I met my wife or my girlfriend back then, and I was like, I was kind of done teaching. I was like, I need to do something else. Mm-hmm. So I went and got my JD. Oh, I'm sorry, I did the LSAT, and I love it. I've done a few other things. I've done some bankruptcy work. I've done some criminal work, but nothing really compares to the personal injury realm, which is what I've been doing since I got my my bar license. Mm-hmm. Because it's really people centered. It's focusing on the individual against the big bad insurance company. You're not just copy editing and for a corporation and making your living that way. So I feel like it's my obligation to help these folks navigate their injuries and all that type of stuff. So it's good.
Yeah, that's awesome that you were a teacher. I always wanted to be a teacher. never quite worked out for me. I wanted to be a history or a political science teacher, which was my major. I double majored history, political science, and then I went to law school.
Right.
Yeah. So that's awesome, man.
One of the things I will say about being a teacher is that it's exhausting.
Yeah.
Like I give it up for every teacher out there. I put in a lot of hours as an injury attorney, but it doesn't compare to what I did as a teacher. So I mean, it was underpaid, underappreciated, a lot of stress. I mean, the interpersonal, relating to the kids and knowing what's hip. And this was back in 2004. Lil Boozy was like the big thing, the rapper. Yeah. So knowing what all the cool rappers are and stuff is like, was what I enjoyed most about teaching. But it's all about the kids, and it really is a calling. And you should do it one day.
Maybe. When I was in high school, I went to Boca High here. When I was in high school, there was a guy. He goes, "Listen, I made a bunch of money. I'm a scientist. I don't know what kind of scientist he was." He said, "I'm retiring and I'm going to be a science teacher. That's what I've always wanted to do. I'm going to give back to, young people, help make sure that they have a good science background. And that's why I'm doing this. Maybe I'll do that one day. I don't know. We'll see. I got to talk to my wife first. She may or may not approve."
A lot of the teaching tends to be, taking care of the kids or disciplining. You do a lot of teaching when you're in the classroom. So you got to come at them from at least the population that we dealt with or I dealt with in Boynton. But the gratification is immediate when you see a kid, grasp something in front of your eyes. I mean, there's nothing better than that.
Yeah, awesome. So, did you say you did criminal work?
I did for a little while when I was I interned for a semester at the Dade County Public Defender's Office.
Oh, okay.
They put me into the felony division because I was a little bit older when I got into law school. Okay, and I saw some things in the felony division that dissuaded me from becoming a criminal attorney, for example. This was the time in Miami when a lot of the sexual predators or the pedophiles who were convicted and released had nowhere to live. And they all kind of lived under the Julia Tuttle Causeway down in Miami. Call it Tent City. So a lot of guys were getting violated, their probation violated because they weren't in their tent when their officer came to go check on them. So there's a lot of guys who were in jail. So my first task as an intern was, hey, here's 10 files. Go to Metro West and go interview these guys and find out what they need and all that type of stuff. So I just had a little baby. I went to Metro West with this file of these pedophiles. I read through the arrest reports, really horrible things that I probably, even as a seasoned attorney, I think maybe I would have been able to stomach it. But as my first job, I was like, I can't do this crap. And I met with these guys, and a lot of them were like, look, you got to get me out of here. They're charging me $1 a day because, the way the justice system works within the jails, that these pedophiles were getting, so having the requirement to defend these people, and just coming from, where I felt like I was giving my all for not the best compensation as a teacher. I was like, I can't, I got to stay away from the criminal world.
What do you mean $1 a day? Who's charging $1 a day?
So in jail, I come to learn that if you are known to be someone who picked on a child or had a criminal conviction, out of your commissary or out of whatever money you make, you got to pay these people or they'll beat you up. They'll do bad things to you. So, that's why the few guys that I spoke to needed to get out of there quick.
Yeah, I would pay the fucking $1. I would pay the $1, bro. I know what they're doing for that $1. I would pay the $1. Like, you want $2? Let me call somebody. Let me help you out.
Yeah, so I didn't envision my future going to visit the jails, which is another thing that is very underappreciated, and it has its place. And I know a lot of public defenders who are amazing individuals and amazing attorneys. It just wasn't for me. So I'm really glad. I'm happy where I am, and I'll ride into the sunset. This personal injury work, man. I enjoy it.
Just to talk about public defenders real quick. I know the what's his name, Nicholas Cruz down in Broward, the Parkland shooter. A lot of people were hating the public defenders that represented him, not realizing, hey, even that kid. That's what makes America great, is no matter how shitty of a human being you are, no matter what crimes you've committed, the government still gives you a person to protect your rights and make sure that you are entitled to at least a bare minimum of justice. I just got back from the CABA Gala, the Cuban American Bar Association. They had a gala whatever, down in Miami, whatever one of those things is. You dress up nice and pay a bunch of money.
If you're in Miami, it's gala.
Yeah. Yeah, they kept saying CABA. And I'm like, CABA? Yeah. They're like, no, CABA, man. Yeah. Coño. So I went down there and they were talking. One of the president, she was speaking about her father had a 4-minute trial with the Cuban government. The new, Fidel Castro government came in power and they gave her father a 4-minute trial and sentenced him to a year in jail. Right. No witnesses, no attorneys, no, just boom, you're done. You're going to jail. So that's, makes America great. Public defenders are great people, amazing. Somebody's got to do that job. So just not for you. I mean, I get it. I wouldn't want to do that work either, dealing with those people, some of the crimes they commit,
Yeah, and my personality is to help. And I felt like that was the inevitable end of my, law school career would be, doing kind of the Lord's work in the courtroom. Mm-hmm. And I had some friends in law school that was their initiative. But, and I mean, you're right, 100%. In America, every criminal is entitled to a defense. Mm-hmm. And, you got to make the state, produce their case. Right. And in Russia, we see that's not the case over there.
Right. Right.
You get caught up. So it is amazing. The whole court system is really, kind of cool to see.
Yeah. Yeah. It's good that we have those protections. So you did a little bit of criminal work, a little bit of bankruptcy work. Bankruptcy is not sexy. That's kind of transactional stuff, right? I would hate to do transactional work. For any transactional attorneys, I'm sorry I said that, but it's the truth. I do not like transactional work. It's basically, paperwork, right? It's the same forms over and over again. Immigration, a lot of that.
And bankruptcy can get a little very dicey and very litigated, very heavily litigated. Mm-hmm. Just one for me. I'm not a big numbers guy. I'm more about the people and mm-hmm. who doesn't love the torts class? That's like the the icing on the cake when you're in law school. So if I can deal with torts every day, it really is what kind of, fires me up and I enjoy it. So.
Interesting fact patterns.
Yeah.
Tell me about some cases you've had with some interesting fact patterns. You were telling me about a Walmart case, I think, recently.
Well, there was the Olive Garden case that really sticks out because I became an expert, just like in that trucking case. I became kind of an expert on the trucking industry.
Can I just say something really quick? Yeah. Olive Garden? Just eating at the Olive Garden, I think is an automatic waiver of any negligence on their part. The last time I went to Olive Garden was with my ex-girlfriend. A roach on the table, great garlic rolls, great salad, everything else microwaved. I'm sorry. Yeah. But go on. Sorry, man. Olive Garden.
It's a salad place. So I guess that was one of the defenses was you assume the risk when you walk through these stores. But it was an interesting case. My client walked into the Olive Garden and her pant leg got caught on the door stopper, like on the side of the door. Okay. Things that hold the door open that was sticking straight out. So she's walking in, she opens the door and it kind of like a pendulum, it grabs onto her pant leg and she falls face forward. She had a fusion surgery prior to that.
What body part do you remember?
Her neck. It was a neck fusion. Wow. A few years before that. So this was an aggravation of that pre-existing condition. So she went ahead and she had a second fusion as a result of this fall. That fusion, the box started coming out. Her voice started getting very raspy afterwards. The box was coming out. She had to get a third fusion. Wow. I mean, we went after the doctor for medical malpractice after that, subsequently. But as far as the case is concerned, interesting part was liability because the door stopper, they got rid of it. So we sent the preservation letter. We let them know that they have to hold on to this door stopper, but they had thrown it out. Somebody screwed up and threw it out. So of course, I'm filing my motions for, spoliation of the evidence. I want to wait them to admit liability, but I did get a picture. I got an expert to come through there, take some pictures, and the door had 4 big holes where the door stopper should have been. So you can see where it came out. And it's not one of these like snazzy, brand new doors and the Olive Garden is sleek. No, it was like, I felt like I was walking into the prison, like Metro West prison. Okay. Big industrial sized doors. You got to really pull it to get in. And we ended up winning that case later on. And then for good money at mediation, and then followed up after with the medical malpractice case. But it really was, and that defense counsel I still see all the time. This was this was a while back, and I kind of gained my respect from her and from that law firm because of the way that we litigated the case and the aggressiveness that we had. Another point I wanted to make about so that was that case, and that was a very interesting case because it's all about door stoppers and how could this have happened? Their defense was, she should have known. What is she doing walking into to this restaurant and letting a door get caught or whatever.
Right, the door stopper wasn't moving.
Right,
she tripped on it. It's her fault. Right. Was there defense to the case? Doesn't mean it's up to a jury to decide whose fault that was and all that.
Exactly. And that was why it wasn't a summary judgment case. We knew we were going to get to a jury, so that kind of put some fuel in our backs on the case. But the one of the ways that I also try to be very personal about all this is that I'm good friends. I don't want to say good friends, but I'm a very good rapport with all defense attorneys. Like I don't really have, there's a few, but I don't really have many defense attorneys that I don't get along with. I make phone calls, to these defense attorneys at the beginning of the case, as the case is moving on. Hey, can we nip this one in the bud? Is this one that we're going to have to, take it to the end? And sometimes you have to take it to the end. But in that particular case, we litigated, we went in front of the judge on a bunch of really contentious hearings, and then we were able to kind of befriend each other, professionally afterwards. So it's cool. Like I said, it's all about the people, not only the people who are hurt, but the defense attorneys. They got to make a living too.
Yeah.
So
somebody's got to do that job.
Yeah.
I could never do that job because you got to tell people no, and a lot of times it's not even no. It's let me talk to my client. Client's the insurance company writing the check. What do they say? No.
Right.
You mentioned having a good rapport with opposing counsel. I met this one attorney, super nice, very easy to get along with, picks up the phone in front of me, starts talking to opposing counsel, screaming at them, yelling at them. And I'm thinking, whoa, that changed really quickly. Yeah. And then hangs up the phone, goes back to being normal. And I hate to say it, sometimes there's a place for that. It's not really the best sometimes. But a lot of times it's not, because you're going to be dealing with that person again in the future. And I have some relationships with attorneys where it kind of benefits me to have them on my good side, because some of the stuff that I do is like I'll represent doctors when they get sued by insurance companies. And the last thing you want to do is piss those attorneys off, because that's all they do. And so when you're asking them, hey, I need a small favor, can I get a small extension, right? Like on that litigated case, hey, can I get a small extension? They're going to tell you, remember that time you screamed at me on the phone? I'm not helping you out,
Right.
So, And, just speaking about that, mental health wise as a profession, some people, they shouldn't be practicing law, but they do.
Right.
And it just drags down the whole profession. They need to have like some kind of test on that.
For sure. Yeah. The personality, you got are you introvert, extrovert, all that type of stuff. There's a lot of people that are not able to relate to another person on a personal level. Mm-hmm. They probably belong in the corporate side, drafting documents and all that. But it's hard to get through to somebody who just doesn't want to, or doesn't have the ability to really communicate well with you. Yeah.
You got to be able to communicate well in this profession. If you can't,
right,
it comes out.
Yeah. So, that's the most, and I try to do some outreach with young attorneys and mentoring and whatnot. And that's probably the most important thing is, be personable with opposing counsel, because, your reputation not only precedes you, but you're gonna, folks are gonna remember you later on. And like you said, you screwed me over last time, so I'm not going to really. And it sucks that it turns into that, and it's not really about the client and the merits of the case. Mm-hmm. But the reality is, we're dealing with people, fallible people, adjusters, right? And the louder that they bang on the table and fight usually means that I'm doing something right. That it's a case that they're afraid about getting resolved. But it's. It's a good time. I have a good time with everything.
Yeah. You just reminded me, I was defending a depot for one of my doctor clients on a PIP suit, talking about $500 max at issue. And it was opposing counsel for United Auto. And she starts banging on the table. Stop coaching the witness. Yeah. You're coaching the witness. And we were in a small little room. The lady, if she talked loudly, I could feel her breath on me. That's how close we were. She's screaming at me, and I'm just like, whoa. I put it on the record because, they type up everything that's said. They don't hear the banging on the table. So I go, why are you banging on the table and yelling at me? And they're writing us all down. Right. So it's, I hate dealing with people like that, but you have to in this industry sometimes.
Yeah. And I never, and one of my favorite things in a deposition is when defense counsel gets all hot and bothered. Make sure you put it on in the deposition. If you have to certify the question and bring it before the judge, I guarantee you they will not be hot and bothered when they have to answer in front of the judge for why they were acting that way. So, it's an interesting thing when they try to tell their client not to answer a question when you can't do that. You just say, look, I'm not going to get upset, but there is somebody who's one of the first things I say in a deposition is, look, we're informal here, but everything we say here has the same effect as if we're in front of the judge. So comport yourself in that way. And when defense counsel is acting all crazy, I will say United Auto is a little bit of a different animal dealing with those attorneys, and I probably know the attorney that you're talking about. But I mean, it's you got to be able to put the hammer down on people, not physically, but intellectually, and let them know you can't walk over me or whatever.
Yeah, in your head you play it physically, but you're like, nah, never do that. Yeah, it's crazy. And it's over $500 max. I can't believe people get that emotionally connected to a case, It's about turns into be, and I try to be a very humble person and keep my pride to the side, but it turns to be about pride where, $500, $700 is not going to affect the client, you or me, but I want to win. I want to win or notch in my belt. So I'm going to hold out. I'm going to make life miserable for you. So you can give me the $200 extra. Yeah.
I try not to do that. Try to be as agreeable as possible.
Yeah. Awesome.
You do big things in the area. I see your name
a little bit
on
I tried.
Buses and stuff. How did that start? You always wanted to have your own firm, or?
So you're not supposed to turn it on me, bro. So basically I got out of law school. I graduated from FIU Law in 2009, May 2009. You take the bar exam September-ish. I think you get your results, and then you just do a quick, I think you got to swear in front of a judge or something, and then you become a lawyer. But I couldn't get a job. The place I was working at for 2.5 years didn't want to hire me. It was 2009. Nobody was hiring. And I looked around at 2 other places. They wanted to pay me $20 an hour as a lawyer, which, to be fair, I didn't know anything as a lawyer at that point, really, even though I worked at a law firm for 2.5 years. You really don't know anything until the first couple years to be good, to be decent, and hold your own. And couldn't get a job. So I just basically, I was living in Delray. I was driving to Miami. The gas in my car was more money than I was making for the paychecks. So I had no choice. I said, hey, I'm just going to work on my own. I appreciate the working here. I really liked working with those people. They're all great people. I had to do it because I had $100,000 in student loans. Right. So funny story about me is I'm crazy. I went back to undergrad because I had subsidized loans. Subsidized loans, the government will pay your interest while you're in school. So I went back to undergrad for two classes in the fall and 2 in the spring. You don't have to take any classes in the summer. And by then I was able to make good headway paying off some of my student loans from the money I was making working for myself. But that's basically why I went to work for myself. It was like nobody wanted to hire me and I wasn't going to work for $20 an hour.
Right. You started doing PIP work? I
started out doing PIP suits. Shortly after that, like a 1.5 years in, started doing some personal injury, started liking that a lot. And now, I always did homeowners cases here and there because I'll try, I would dabble in homeowners, but when the pandemic hit, we started to diversify, started doing homeowners cases a lot. So as a separate division full time with, we've got 2 attorneys doing that now. But yeah, I started doing that. That's why I did that donation at FIU Law for the career planning, because I was telling the dean at the time, hey, I couldn't get a job. And he's like, oh, how'd you like to try to help other people get a job? So that's why I did that donation with the career planning placement office at FIU Law.
Right.
So yeah.
That's amazing. Awesome. Funny story about first party claims. When I first became a lawyer, I was living in Miami, Davis Harbor, like on 79th and or 82nd and Northeast 16th or whatever. Beautiful area. Across the street was this Cuban guy who he found out that I had just gotten my bar license, and his eyes lit up huge. Yeah, I got a mold remediation place. You come work for me, blah, blah, blah. Turns out, I said no. I already had an in with a personal injury firm. Fast forward 2 years later, there was like 20 guys who got indicted on fraud cases. He and his father had ran that company. And they would do is they would go in for a water damage case, break a bunch of tiles. Say, oh, you need a new floor, you need a new counter.
Right.
So then they were fraudulently adding on things to these cases. And that's when I decided I cannot mess around with first party claims, especially in Florida. Yeah. The fraud is so big.
Yeah, Miami in particular. Yeah.
My perspective. Yeah. So it's just wild. But I know that especially after the hurricanes and stuff, that's huge business.
Yeah, we have an office in Fort Myers, and I mean the devastation that they have. Everybody's got a blue tarp over their roof. One of the guys that works for me in Fort Myers, he's very proud to work for me, and he goes to the insurance company. He goes, "Listen, my boss is a lawyer. If you don't pay my roof, he's got a hole in his roof from the storm." Okay. Yeah. During the hurricane, they were hugging each other in the kitchen, trying not to get blown away. They were freaked out for their lives. Insurance company, they're going to do the right thing. They're going to pay this claim. They don't pay the claim. They deny the claim. He tells them, my boss is a lawyer. You're going to sue you if you don't pay. We did file the lawsuit. But they don't want to pay these insurance companies. It's crazy how they don't want to pay. But to go back to the fraud stuff, some of those people in that homeowners thing, they get away with so much. I feel like the insurance company, the insurance fraud divisions for auto, they're very heavy. Everybody knows if you do fraud, you're going to get in trouble. Don't do it. Still some people who do it, but it's very minimal. In the homeowners realm, I feel like there's no enforcement whatsoever. DeSantis just passed that legislation to take away attorney's fees. So before January 1st of 2023, before that, you get attorney's fees if you sue an insurance company on behalf of a homeowner and say, hey, homeowner put in a claim for a water leak, roof damage, whatever, and insurance company wrongfully denied it. If the lawyer wins the case on behalf of the homeowner, the insurance company also pays the attorney's fees. After January 1st, DeSantis got this law changed because homeowner insurance rates were doubling and tripling across state. Got to change, no more attorney's fees. So I don't really know if that's going to put a dent in any fraud, but that kind of stuff with breaking tiles, if you have continuous flooring throughout the house and one tile gets broken or has to be broken to fix a pipe leak, all the tiles got to be replaced. Now, if it happens in my house or your house, I'm getting that one tile that I have under the staircase and I'm putting it, it's in the garage, whatever, you're putting it back in, you're barely going to notice a difference. Right. But the insurance company has to pay for the whole continuous flooring. So it kind of adds in a lot of value into the claim, a lot of money extra. It really, it's like, I got the tile under the staircase, but right. That's what the insurance policy calls for. So it is an added advantage. And, to be honest, the insurance companies lowball the hell out of everything anyways. So it kind of helps out in that regard.
Averages it out. And these cries of fraud, I think they a lot of times are politically motivated and aren't necessarily, in line with what the truth is. And the fact of the matter is these insurance companies make a lot of money on your backs. And when it's time to make a claim, they're going to deny it. So, have at it. If you can make that claim, go for it. So
we talked about United Auto, but Granada Insurance is another one. They're the United Auto for trucking policies.
Yeah.
So if you drive a big truck, Granada will insure you and then gladly deny the claim after the accident. And then on top of that, they sue the insured, the truck driver, and to get a deck action claim, to get a declaration from the court, like, hey, this person lied on their application for insurance. Right. So it's just
a lot of these, like I said, a lot of these companies, their whole idea is to collect premiums and not pay out or pay out as little as possible.
Yeah, let's open an insurance company together. That's my next thing.
I'm up for it. Let's do it.
Yeah, nobody's suing the insurance companies for doing that. Like as far as governments go, which really they should be. A couple, Windhaven, they went out of business. They should have been taken out of business by the government because they were literally denying every single claim that was out there. Yeah. And they can't sue me for that anymore because they're bankrupt now. So
that's why, a lot of times you see when you get into an accident, the guy that hit me has insurance. Not necessarily. I mean, sometimes it's better not to have insurance. You got Windhaven or United or, whatever. It's just as good as not having insurance.
Yeah. Right. They make it very frustrating because of the way that they operate. But
did you always know that you wanted to do personal injury or that you wanted to end up doing personal injury?
No, to be honest, I started doing PIP suits, which is kind of related to auto accidents. And Alvaro, who's with me, he one of his friends was in an accident. He said, hey, can you help her out? And I was like, sure. And I started working on her case, got her a really nice settlement on her case. And I was like, I could do this. And, came up with processes and all that stuff on how to build a nice demand package for the insurance company, making it obvious what their injuries are. Because sometimes you really got to explain it to the insurance company what the injuries are and all that. And started from there. That was like a year and a half or so into practice, I would say. And it's, I love doing personal injury because I like helping people. Right. You mentioned dog bites. Have you had any big dog bite cases that settled for good money?
There aren't very big. They tend to be common. You don't really understand it until you've been through it, where somebody lets their dog off the leash and, maybe the dog has a history of biting people. I have litigated some against individuals. Did some collections, got some work. Nothing very big, but it is one of the things that you got to follow through with, because not only is it going to become a potential money settlement for the client, but now that client trusts you, and that client is going to be your client forever into the future. So I have had a handful of successful dog bite cases. They tend to be mildly valued. But it's all about getting people into the door. Getting people into your kind of Rolodex, which is a term that I realized that my 19-year-old daughter didn't know. What's a Rolodex? I was like, oh, it's like a cell phone. But
so there's two people in the room right now who are watching. Well, one of them in particular, I said, do you know what a Rolodex is? I have no idea what that is. And I asked the girls in the Miami office, I said, yeah, I'm just going to add it to my Rolodex. And then I realized they had no idea what I was talking about. They're like, is that an app? And basically it's the contacts app in your phone. Yeah. Before that, you would put your business cards in a Rolodex, and it would be A, B, C, D all the way to Z. But people don't know what a Rolodex is. I feel old. I tried explaining to her that she said Groundhog Day is coming up. So I said, oh, just like the movie.
Oh,
what movie?
You got to know Groundhog Day.
Doesn't know the movie.
Shame.
Yeah, Shame, right? Yeah. Do you know Shame? The reference from Shame, Game of Thrones? No. That's when you know you're getting old, is when you talk about stuff and people around you have no clue.
I make my kids know, like Airplane, the movie Airplane.
Yeah.
Nielsen.
Shirley.
Maybe my kids watch that.
Yeah.
Shirley can't be serious.
Yeah. Don't call me Shirley.
It's all good. But one of the things that one of the ways that I was able to be successful, and being successful, doing better than I think I've ever imagined I would do, and I'm comparatively, I don't have able body money, but
what money, man? What are you talking about?
I do well. The way that I got into it was I had I have friends and I have family and I had my ex-students, but one of the things I learned to do as a baby attorney was traffic tickets. So through kind of necessity, through helping friends, I was able to run and I got friendly with all the traffic. It's kind of changed since COVID, but getting people.
Do you know Harvey in the traffic ticket business?
Harvey's my buddy.
If you don't know Harvey, you don't know traffic tickets.
All these guys. They and there's a few other guys, I can't remember their names, but I started going to the courts and defending it by myself, realizing there's guys who live there and not live there, but they handle everybody's tickets. So I ended up giving it to them. But that's a way to get somebody's number in my cell phone. I beat you on that ticket. By the way, I do personal injury as well. So that kind of helped me out also. Really kind of a grassroots way of getting clients, not necessarily spending a lot of money on advertising, because I didn't really have the wherewithal to do that, but just really getting out and pounding the pavement and talking to people and building relationships. So
that's funny you mentioned traffic tickets. We did traffic tickets for a while. We were doing maybe 30 new tickets a month. We were out there, and
that's big.
We met Harvey. If you don't know Harvey in traffic tickets, you basically pay him X amount of dollars. So you charge whatever you charge. I don't want to get him in trouble. You charge whatever you charge as an attorney, and then you say, hey, Harvey, can you or one of your guys go to the courthouse and handle this ticket? And Harvey's a man. He gets it done. Doesn't win every case, right? I mean, if you're speeding and they got you speeding, you're getting the ticket either way. But what Harvey does is he knows the judges. He makes sure, hey, judge, no points, please. And if your record is not awful, the judge will give you no points on your license. Getting points on your license increases your cost of insurance. And if you get too many points, you can't drive for a period of time. So So we were doing that, and one day this girl comes in with a traffic ticket, and she's like a repeat client. She's always in getting tickets for speeding or whatever. And I see this massive scar on her neck, and it's like sticking out at me. So I say, "Hey, what's going on with that scar on your neck?" "Oh, I just had a neck fusion." And I go, "Well, who did that? Why did you get a neck fusion?" "Oh, I was in this bad car accident, and my lawyer, whatever, da 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 da." And I'm thinking, I'm supposed to be your lawyer. You're supposed to call me. Why do you think I'm doing these tickets for $60 a ticket here? I'm wasting my life away. Yeah. And that was a choice that I made to stop doing traffic tickets. The other one was my wife's really good friend. She had to pay the costs on the case. She was speeding. The judge said, "Hey, I believe the cop on this. You're speeding. I'm not going to give you any points, but you got to pay the ticket." It was $150. So we contact the girl. "You got to pay." And she goes, "I'm not paying that. I paid you $50 for the ticket. You got to pay it. You lost, you pay." I said, "That doesn't work that way. Like if you're, on trial for murder and the judge says, 'Hey, I think you murdered this person,' I don't go to jail as your attorney. You you do the crime, you do the time." Angry, furious. I said, "You know what? I'll pay it. Just leave me alone. I don't want to deal with this annoyance." And that was like the nail in the coffin for me. I was done doing traffic tickets. But yeah. So do you still do them? Like people will call you and you kind of
for friends and relatives.
Okay.
And really I'll do them, just like I said, just to
be that source.
Right. And I let them know, look, I'm not going to promise you the sun and the moon. You're probably going to have to pay a fine. I'm going to try to get no points, no school. But yeah. I mean, if it's within my area, the traffic game has changed since COVID because now everything is via Zoom. Okay. So Harvey's probably out of business. I don't think he's doing tickets anymore.
Right. Okay.
The other guys that do the different courthouses. I know one traffic attorney that used to do all of Martin County and Palm Beach and Port St. Lucie or St. Lucie County is a realtor. Because there's no more business. People just get Zoom and they appear on their own. And
right.
Do their own thing. So
my brother thinks he's an attorney for his traffic tickets. He shows up and he goes. He's always got his stories because he always does his own thing. He doesn't realize that the judges and the police just don't have time for his bullshit. Yeah. So, but he wins a lot of his own tickets. He's not an attorney. He's just a smooth talker. And I think the cops and everybody I don't want to deal with this guy today. I got things to do. This guy's talking for an hour. I got to go. Yeah. But you can go to traffic court on your own. A lot of people plead no contest, which is basically, hey, I did it. Just have some mercy on me. You could go to trial on the traffic ticket, hoping that the cop doesn't show up. But now with Zoom, it's, hey, the cop could be sitting in his car.
100%.
Yeah, I never thought about that. That's interesting because that's great for these cops because the cops, it actually sucks for them because I think they used to get paid overtime to go to the courthouse on their day off and do the traffic tickets.
It's like a whole thing. The bunch of cops are there waiting for their case to get called.
Yeah.
For sure. So,
wow.
It's definitely the pandemic and Zoom and everything have definitely changed the way a lot of things work. But I mean the traffic game specifically. I remember I got a ticket when I was teaching high school. I was going fast trying to get home, and then I went in front of the judge and said, "Look, I'm a high school teacher." She's like, "All right, this is what I'll do. Write a 3-page essay on the dangers of speeding and how you're going to teach kids not to speed. Submit it to me in 20 days, and I'll dismiss your ticket." So I was like, "All right. I'll do it."
Fair enough.
Yeah. They get creative. These judges get creative.
Yeah, fair enough. That's actually a fair sentence.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
You ever see these judges? They make people hold up a sign, "I stole from Walmart." Yeah. I mean, that's kind of crazy. But do you like depots via Zoom?
I do. I calendar call, depositions. I thought Zoom should have been involved or should have been the way to go even before the pandemic. Because a lot of wasted time, especially calendar call. You got 40, 50 attorneys in the same room to just walk up, tell the judge that you're ready for trial or you're not ready for trial. Mm-hmm. And then, you go have lunch somewhere. Depositions, there's nothing better than being across from someone and putting pressure on them if necessary and really getting a read on what's happening. So you kind of miss that when you have the Zoom deposition. However, it's really great when you can just pull up a document or pull up a video, or you can actually, which I've done, search the accident scene on Google Maps with the client. So is this where the accident occurred? No, a little bit down the street. you'll also then I'll click over and zoom over to there. So it is beneficial in that way where you can kind of produce documents and stuff. But like I said, there's nothing better than, or there's nothing as effective as being in front of somebody and kind of getting a feel. And the silence is also very important when you're in a deposition and you're trying to figure out if somebody's lying, how quickly they answer, if they're looking at their attorney. Sometimes, the worst thing is when you're taking a deposition and the client and the attorney, you're taking a deposition via Zoom, client and the attorney in the same room, but you're not in that room. So you don't know what they're saying to each other. Right. You don't know what notes are being passed. So it's, that can be problematic, but I mean, nothing better than, the honest truth is my pants are so clean because I never wear pants in a hearing. It's just a button-down shirt and a jacket.
To be clear, he's wearing pants today. To be clear,
today because I had to leave the house. But I don't know when's the last time I've worn pants. I mean, there's always something down there, but like official pants and shoes,
like basketball shorts, whatever.
Right.
It's funny you mentioned that. Pandemic's kind of over. I mean, in Florida, the pandemic was over 3 months in, to be honest. But as far as like things like court and going back to meetings and stuff, I want to say it was like at least. I mean, I was back, but to do something where I had to wear a suit, it was probably a year or two. I put on the suit. I did not fit in the suit. Yeah. And that's when you're fat. As a lawyer, when you don't fit in your suit, you're done. You need to go walk, run, gym, something.
I remember the first thing I had to do out of the house for court for the pandemic was I had to take a doctor deposition. I was like, look, this is sufficient enough for me to do it in person. Let me get ready. Let me go take this doctor deposition. I got in my car. My battery is dead. So I had to do it over video anyway.
Do it on Zoom,
because I hadn't driven my car in I don't know how long. So it was, the pandemic really changed things as far as that goes. It's getting more back to normal. I am appreciative of how Zoom has kind of allowed me to be present and more accessible, almost too much for my kids. I was never able to call home from school or, hey, Dad, I forgot my computer at home. Can you, like, if I screwed up, I left my lunch. My kids are different. My kids know I'm home. Yeah, they know I'm able to, dropped off things from school. So, I which is another concern that I have as an attorney who has a little bit of success is I want my kids to struggle a little bit. I don't want to give them everything. And I feel like maybe I give them too much sometimes. Yeah,
that's my wife. She calls me. Jordan left his lunchbox at home, so I need you to go pick him up Chick-fil-A down the road and bring it to his school. And I'm thinking, Chick-fil-A, I would probably leave my lunch at home too if I knew Dad was going to come by and give me Chick-fil-A with the milkshake and the French fries, because why not? I'm already there, So I'm like, nah, I'm going to go pick him up something and make him peanut butter and jelly and make him suffer a little bit.
That's right.
I know exactly what you're talking about. It's funny. I remember I used to wear a shoestring with the key around my neck because my mom was always at work, so I had a necklace there, and I don't know. That was in vogue at the time. I'm not sure why I didn't just put it in my backpack. I don't know. Maybe I'm going to not lose it if it's around my neck. I don't know. I was like a little kid at that point. But so how can people get a hold of you if they want to contact you?
All right. Absolutely. Yeah. My the best way is through cell phone. I'm very accessible on my cell. My number is 561-414-4769. My website is my name, Kris Torres, injurylaw.com. I'm all over social media. I'm on Facebook. I'm on Instagram. I'm on Twitter. Not really on TikTok. My kids want me on TikTok.
We just got on TikTok.
Did you?
We just got on TikTok. Yeah.
Yeah. But I mean, I'm really an open book. I'm everything is public. I like interacting with folks. Sometimes to my detriment because clients will be on top of me, but it's all good. I enjoy people. So, that's my main thing. And I really appreciate you, inviting me on here, man.
Yeah, thanks for being on here. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Absolutely.
So awesome. So I think that's a wrap. That's good. Thank you so much.